Folks, I'm so excited to have joining me on our very first podcast, which we're using Zoom. We're recording with Zoom. We're going to be also moving over to StreamYard very shortly. But joining me on today's podcast is Vince Parlove. For those of you who are not listening to or watching this live or watching this on a recorded basis, let me just build a picture. Vince is standing in the middle of this awesome office with thousands of people behind him. The masses are out there. They're all working social distancing properly, wearing the masks, working together, and they're getting loans done at a rate that is insane. Vince Parlove, so good to have you here.
Insane numbers. You're absolutely right, buddy.
Insane numbers. Come on, give me the number. What did you fund last month, and what are you targeting to fund this month? How many billion?
So I think it was 16 or 17 billion last month, and I think, listen, we're kind of crescendoing back up, but I think we should have over 90,000 loans that will underwrite this month submissions. So it's a crazy number.
90,000. Well, I'm so glad that you're on here, because we're all dealing with record volumes, and I want to get to what you're doing in the broker program, because it's an awesome program. But first of all, I want to talk about how the heck are you guys doing this? I want to talk about the systems. I had the privilege, as you know, I got to come in and fly in and be with you live. I was there with that handsome self of yours and the whole team, and sat down with Pat Ishbia and the whole group. If you haven't ever met Vince Parlove, meeting him is like sticking your fingers into a light socket. All you do is you just feel lit.
Let's go. Come on, let's get it going. That's it.
He does not set ADHD on steroids. But anyway, let's talk about how you guys are keeping up with this volume. 90,000 files. We talked another time recently, and you talked about you hired like a ridiculous number of underwriters. And you're in Detroit, and this is a work in an office environment, which means there are not that many underwriters in the market. So how did you hire them? How did you create them? What's going on in that?
Yeah, and normally we're working office. Obviously, we're doing all the safe things that are out there in regards, like you mentioned, the social distancing and things like that. And actually, people have an option right now to come in, or work from home. But it's in our DNA to be in here, right? We like people. We got a million plus square feet of space for folks. We're up to 6,200 people. When the pandemic hit, Matt went out and said, "Hey, listen, we're not going to lay anybody off, and in fact, we're going to go on a 1,500 person hiring spree." And I think we're probably going to land about 1,700 when everything's all said and done at the end of August.
Wow.
So anyway, and that leads into why, we can handle that type of volume, because we're overstaffed by design. You'll hear this from Matt and all leadership, through in and throughout is that we don't sit there and say, we should have 100 underwriters to do that. And then if they work a little bit of overtime, no, we go get 125, and then that's how we roll.
Well, see, I think one of the things that a lot of people, this industry, as you know, you've been in this industry for a whole bunch of years. You worked at a lot of great companies, some which I've had the privilege of consulting to. So shout out to your previous employers. We won't mention them by name, but they're great companies and great people and all of that. But most companies, I would say 90+% of mortgage companies in the industry hire at the need or behind the need. Yeah. That's not the way UWM does it. You hire ahead of the need. Talk about that. What's the philosophy behind that?
The philosophy is to be overstaffed by design. You know what I mean? It's just there's so many different opportunities in here, and some people may come in, as an underwriter in operations, and we have people that are moving around. My team's grown exponentially because of good people that we brought in that have come through the operations piece or the sales piece to the operation piece. So you're not just limited to one dimension around here when you come in, and maybe your resume just screams operations, but we found great salespeople out of there, and really at the contrary, right? Good salespeople their whole life that moved over to the operations side. But no, you're right. There's some people out there, but really think about it. When the volume hits, it's too late. I mean, you can't hire then, you know what I mean? When somebody walks in here, I don't care, how good you are, and we're pretty damn good. It takes 90 days for people to kind of get ramped up. And we have a specific training program, we put people through, and it's training. It isn't like, sit next to an underwriter, she'll show you her way and things like that. We have classroom, right now it's virtual classroom style training that we bring people up through. So, but no, it's cool stuff. And that's really how we roll.
I love how Matt and you coach. You're a sports nut. You love sports. You kicked my butt on the whirly ball court. You have to understand that, folks. If you don't know what whirly ball is, you got to get out there and go up to Michigan.
Look it up.
Look it up. It is fun. But you're a sports nut. Matt's into coaching. He was a basketball coach. Talk about the coaching that you guys do once someone's on board and how you raise up people. That is such a great story.
Yeah, so coaching's always going on, right? I mean, it's you kind of breed from a athletic state of mind, the competitiveness and things of that nature. We have a program here that we call Big. You know what I mean? And we get a lot of folks, and actually we have folks that come in just in that program, and it's a 1-year program where they go around to every aspect of this organization and do different things, right? And really get ingrained in the team. We got a team right now that just left today. We're getting ready to start another one on next week, and then we take a break and we have one the 17th. But it's just things like that. They're always going on that we're breeding folks. We don't typically go to the sector and hire underwriters and steal from each other, because that's how a lot of other people do it. We bring people in that have the work ethic and the right attitude, and then we show them how to do mortgages.
Yeah. That's so important. You grow your people. I mean, and you grow up. I got to tell the story. When I was there in December, I've shared the story with you. I want to share it with our listeners. The thing that impressed me the most was one time, first of all, your sales meeting. I mean, how many people that went in a normal non-COVID thing does that thing see? 1,000, 1,200 people or something?
Probably close. I would say 900 anyways, and typically 900 are in there. And we have people that are in training, because we train outside people through a program called Success Track that hundreds, if not thousands, of people that have already been through. They're in that meeting too to see our culture, right? Matt runs that meeting. He comes in, he starts it, and he finishes it. And then we have our sales leadership team in between, talking about what we're working on, new things that are coming out. You saw it, firsthand, but we open that up to the folks that are our partners and let them see that.
Yeah. I have a client that went through your sales track program, and they said, Lykken, you got to join us. You got to see this thing. And I go, I know it. I saw Matt at the annual conference. He says, Lykken, come on up. We'd love to have you. You guys were a client at one point in time long ago. So once a client, always a client. I always say UWM is still a client. Yeah. But what the things that impressed me was, first of all, that meeting. But what really impressed me was this story. I was, after one of the breaks, I was in using the men's room, and there's a guy walking through with a spray, and he happened to be African-American, a guy just had this big smile. He's carrying a new roll of paper that he's going to put in one of the for the drying in the hands and things like that. And I go, I saw him go through, and I go, wow, you look happy. He says, are you kidding? How could you not when you get to work at a company like this? I go, I've never heard a janitor talk like that. Here's the other thing. I would remind him to come back to what he said at the end of the sales meeting that we had. Yeah. So he comes through and he says, he says, I said, why are you so fired up? I didn't say you're a janitor or you're this little guy. I mean, a janitor. And he says, no, he says, and he can't remember. I am an engineer or whatever it was, made some good title for him. He made it feel good. You guys made people feel good around him. He says, but here's the best part. If I keep this bathroom and the other hall bathrooms clean on this floor, I get to come up and I'm going to be an opener someday. Yeah. Matt's promised me, Matt, he didn't say Mr. Ishmael, Matt. His promise, I get to be an opener someday. This guy was so excited. I love a culture where you elevate people. You bring them in at any level where they're at, and you elevate them. Going back to the sales meeting, the last words Matt said is, remember how you got here. Go find someone in the organizations that's on the journey up and speak a word of encouragement. While I was there, I watched many guys, obviously it's just men in the men's room, guys come up to this guy and go, hey, you're doing a great job. Keep working. I can't wait to see you on the opening table. They knew his goal. They knew his name. They knew his kids. Everyone takes an interest. That's a culture that is so extraordinary in this world where it's up over the top. So I love the culture. We could go on and on and on again about that, but I want to get into what you're doing, Matt. Sorry, Matt, what you're doing, Vince. I want to get into what you're doing, Vince, and talk about this. First of all, tell our listeners, what is the division that you run and your responsibilities there? What is there? Why we're looking at your tie? You're big.
The Wholesale Development Team. And let me come back to that just real quick, but I want to pile on what you said. we have 4 senior vice presidents in sales that report to the Alan Baydoun, who runs all of sales. One of them, Anthony Frederick, has been here 20. I think if you this week was his 26-year anniversary.
Wow.
He started up opening mail 26 years ago in the mailroom, and now he is the senior vice president of sales. Okay, so
I love it.
I mean, those are great stories. And when we were talking, I was getting goosebumps because it is the way of life around here. You know, people come in here and they hear the stories. There's folks watching, listening to me, you know, on this right now because they know it and they got their stories and they're chuckling. You know, I can see their faces. You know what I mean? They're chuckling about how they've come up through here. So it's really good. But, you know, getting into our team, you know, and segueing into that off of that, I wanted to make sure, you know,
it's so good. I'm glad you piled onto it.
Is our wholesale development team. So we formed this team, you know, 2.5 years ago when I came on board, and it is, you know, there was a vision by Matt and myself that obviously the broker world was, you know, starting to get more, market share, you know, when the whole world fell apart, you know, it went from 50% to 9% or 54% to 8% or whatever number you pick, but it went from, well, you know, middle, half the volume out there to, you know, single digits in market share. Now, you know, we're up above 20%. You know what I mean? That's where it sits, and we're helping that. You know what I mean? The wholesale development team helps folks come from retail to open their own shops. You know, all the way from we have a system where you name your company, get your business bank account, get your EIN number, which is your federal tax number, and then we help you through that whole process. Then we feather you into getting approved here, and then we, you know, feather you to your, you know, your AE, you know, in that order, you know, to give us loans here. But it's not, you know, people are like, oh, you know, what's in it for you? You know, how do you get paid? We don't ask for any money to do this. We don't ask for any, you know,
that's what I love.
Volume or things of that nature. We want to help the sector. We are for the broker, by the broker. That's, you know, we feel that
that's your model. Yep.
The best place to work is with the independent mortgage broker, and the best place for a consumer to get a loan is through an independent mortgage broker, because they're all fighting for you, right? If my programs, if my turn times, if my rates are off at UWM, I don't get just because I'm this good looking doesn't mean we get the loans, right? Right? No, that's
hard to believe, but that is true.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, right? No, but we got to get in the ring and fight with everybody, right? Yeah. We do this. People are like, well, you know, I had one guy break it down for me. Let me get this straight. You do all this, and then at the end of this rainbow, you get in the ring with all, you know, competition, your Calibers, your Quickens, your Flagstars, and everybody else, and you got to fight for that loan? Yes. Yeah. If we're off,
and we do it. Yeah. And we do it for free. That's what I love about this. Yeah. So let's talk about that model. So this is for someone who might be a loan officer at a bank or off somewhere inside of an existing company, and they get the itch, they get the entrepreneurial itch to start their own company. That is the group that you help primarily. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. And let's just take it full circle here, David.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you know, why people went back to the retail world is because the whole broker model blew up. We didn't know how to pay anybody. We didn't know how to get a loan through the system with the new, you know, disclosure process and moving from a HUD-1 to a LE and a CD, you know, and kind of moving through that. You know, we were stymied on the lender side of that, and that's why everybody went back to the retail side. Well, now they're migrating back to the broker side. We're seeing it. I mean, every single day. I mean, my team of folks right here, you know, taking on, you know, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15 calls a day from folks. We call them money calls, because when we have somebody call in and we give them the information to start their own company, it's a money call. We have fun with it. We keep track of, you know, money calls, and, you know, we have, 50, 60, 70 a week.
Wow. These are people that are looking to get out and set up their own company, their own mortgage brokerage company. Let's talk a little bit about the anatomy of this broker. Tell me a little bit of what they look like. What's the right one to make that transition? And what's the right one to go, no, you're not ready yet, or this isn't a good move for you? Talk about that.
Yeah, and we have an avenue for that too, and I'll get to it.
Oh yeah, of course you do.
Yeah, so but no, but you're right. So we've this team right here now, I think team to date has helped close to 1,300 people, you know, get to that dream of owning their own company, right? But and I'm real, you know, we've probably got a couple thousand people, you know, in the, you know, waiting in the on deck circle to do this, you know, at different phases of what's going on. You know, some people call up and they're like, hey, I heard about this. Some people call up and say, hey, listen, I already formed my entity. I already got my EIN number. I already got my business bank account. What do I do now? I'm stuck.
Right.
Where do I go? And things like that. So folks are coming to us at all different, a year and a half ago,
stages.
Every call was, what do I do? How do I do it? You know what I mean? So, you know, and each one of those 1,300 people that we've already helped, plus are folks there's 1,300 different walks of life that they came from. They came from retail. They came from a bank. They came from a credit union, and now they decided that they just want to be a one-man show. I talked to them 6 months later. They go, hey, I have 4 people that I used to work with came aboard. Now I'm managing 4 people. And then there's people that come out of the gate that want to have all these branches and a multi-state platform. They're like, I looked at that. I'm good. I'm doing 15 loans a month and I'm sitting here in my, I can work out of my home. I got a better work-life balance. I'm spending more time with my wife, my kids, my family, and things like that. And I'm doing 15 loans a month because that's what we've done. We've led the industry in regards to these guys being able to get loans done quicker, faster, more efficiently by wrapping it with our technology, which is, second to none. People are, second, third, and fourth place are, probably 15, 20 links behind us when it comes to that. But that's the anatomy of folks, that there isn't one, just like one size fits all by any means. There's 1,300 sizes.
Well, when you're serving the size of the audience that you are, talk about products. And how much of a challenge, or do you guys say, now this is our, you came to a pizza place, we serve pizzas here. If you want a filet, you got to go down the street. How big is the smorgasbord, and how do you manage the menu, and what goes into that? Trying to be you try to be all things to all people?
No. It's in our repertoire, even at the director level here, is that we're 640 and above, conventional FHA, VA, and USDA. People are like, hey, why don't you? People are always asking us, why don't you do this? You're great at that. Why don't you do this? No, this is our lane. We stay in it. We fight to stay in it.
Good way to put it.
Because people want us to go outside this, because they want to be able to wrap our technology around non-QM, around jumbo. We do some jumbo stuff too, and some high balance nationwide, but that obviously that product right now is, pretty much on hold, probably for one day to come back, but just on hold right now. So that's our deal. We play a couple instruments. Great. We don't play 30 kind of good.
That's really good. It's a great way to put it. I think it's so important to do that. And you guys play amazingly well as a team. When we talked about the guys that are a loan officer or something like that breaking away, are you seeing any trends, Vince, where some of branches significant of some size breaking away and coming over to UWM, or going out on their own as a group?
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you say that. We're seeing that. I think it goes in clumps, right? We see a bunch of one-man shops kind of come to us, and we always get our fair share of that. But just recently, we've fielded a half a dozen or so calls, and I say just recently, in the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks, where people are like, I need to move my team, because they think the frustration out there. I think some folks out there, lender-wise, and it's just them. They're like, we got 40 underwriters. We got 25 underwriters. We're not hiring anymore. If you guys bring more business in, it's just, we're seeing people closing loans in 30, 40, 50, 60, 90 days. We're hearing people can't hold 60-day locks. We're closing loans in 12 days. We're getting a loan in here and getting it clear to close to our broker community in 12 days.
90,000 loans were underwritten this month. That is is that the number? Did I hear that?
That's what we're on pace for. Over 93. Actually, we might be closer to 95, but 90,000, I think we'll be there.
What's the average underwriting time for those 90,000+ loans? Did you say?
You submit a loan. We're at just a tad bit over, I think, 12.14 days to a clear to close. We track to a clear to close. Now, if it takes another week for the broker to close it, Lykken is clear to close. You know what I mean? If your title company can't do it, or or your closer or whatever, that's on you. But we're ready to rock in 12 days.
So from time of submission, if the broker gets it into your system, that starts the clock. 12 and a half days later, you're ready to close.
Yep. You got it.
I can only imagine why you're getting so busy when you maintain that level of service. It's just crazy. Talk about, some people say, but I give up control. I want to go be a full banker. Talk about, do you have any type of delegated program there that people can get into? Talk about that.
Yeah, it's a big piece of what our pie is. We do have a non-delegated. We always want to underwrite the file. That's us.
Right. Yep.
You know, we're not going to ever go to a delegate. You know, never's a long time, but this, I don't think it's in our repertoire to go, you know, to a fully delegated buying whole loans and things like that. That's not us. But non-delegated, we will do it, and we got a whole team that does that too. You know, we're all about teams around here. You know, Chad Osterhaus runs that for us. He's right here, kind of linked up with our team, and he does a bang-up job. Him and his team. He's probably got 20 or 25 guys that are just do the non-delegated correspondent, and that includes banks and credit unions too, because there's a lot of that business out there too. So.
How many employees do you guys have right now?
I think the number is, it moves. I mean, this could be the beginning of the week or end of last week, but I heard 6,200, I think was the number.
Wow, 6,200 employees.
Yeah.
So that's hard to maintain relationships. When someone starts doing business, let's say just within your group or someone within the company, do they deal with the same person, or are they dealing with, how many underwriters? I thought it was 3,000 underwriters or some ridiculous number.
I think underwriters, I think I would probably say we're probably at 1,400 person range, but in that whole operations, guys set up people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's maybe the number that you heard, you know, from that standpoint, but specifically with the underwriter title, it's probably in that 1,300 range. But yeah, so when somebody comes in here, they get what we refer to as a pod. So they don't get the same person every time, but they get the makeup as they do business with us over a long period of time of, you know, getting what that pod does. You know, let's just face it, everybody has their own kind of, you know, their own flavor, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
And things of that nature. So at least you get the flavor of that pod, and it's not like you're, you know, you go into a pool of 1,300 people to underwrite your file. So no, that's not the case.
Yeah. Well, where do you see this going, Vince? Is the trend more towards this, towards the broker model? Is it, are you, what, we were at one point in time where it represented nearly 50, someone said nearly 60% of the business of all loans were originated were going through the wholesale channel in the previous cycle before the housing crisis. Are we ever going to see it get back to that kind of level, in your opinion?
So, you know, so we had a team goal of getting to 22% this year. We're halfway through the season, and we're at 21.6% market share. That's first quarter numbers that we just got, I do believe. But so 21.6, so we'll hit that 22%. If we start going in 2-3% clicks a year, yeah, I think, you know, really, I'm feeling, you know, the folks that are really buying into that this is back. I think people were skeptical right in the beginning. Geez, you know, I got that was a sad time in my life. I had to strip my whole world down, right?
Yeah.
And go back to the retail piece. So, you know, that's what it is. But no, you know, do I think it's going to go to 50? That's a long ways away. You know what I mean? Do I think we're going to go to 25? Yeah. Do I think, you know, is 30 in our, you know, crosshairs? Absolutely. You know, and then let's talk again in a year when we're at 30, and we'll talk about 50.
We'll go back. We'll definitely have you back. I just love having you on, Vince. I love the energy. What's your shirt say? Never relax. I love it. That is never relax. You don't either. You are a maniac. I love you like the brother you are. You're just so fabulous. As we wrap this up, what would you say to the industry? What I love about Matt and your whole company is you're so willing to share the knowledge. The time I was in, there was a whole bunch of lenders in there. Matt opened it up, let me go anywhere, talk to anybody, and he knows I'm a consultant in the industry. I was so impressed. It was a smart move for him because I saw something special that I just quite honestly haven't seen many places, if anywhere. Maybe one or two companies almost have what you guys have. But what is the thing that you would say you would recommend the industry to have for success? I would love to get your perspective on that.
Yeah, it's a great, you know, so listen, I mean, obviously we're getting more dynamic with the market penetration that we're getting on the wholesale side. I mean, folks need to take a peek, you know, lift the hood, take a peek on what's going on over here. And I think it would be good, even if you don't have any intentions of coming here today or tomorrow or next month. I think it would be wise for you to, take a look at what's going on. I mean, right now we got, you know, a lot of these companies are slow to react, but we got 15-year rates in the ones.
What?
30-year rates in the twos. Yeah, we got 1.875 on our rate sheet right now, and for a 15-year, you know what I mean? There's other companies that are starting to come on. We usually lead, you know, in this type of stuff. You know what I mean? And people are eating that up. So now you got a 1.875 loan that you can do a 15-year, product on in 12 days.
That's crazy.
I've been
at this for 47 years. I never ever envisioned we'd see rates under 2, but I believe it. I believe it's crazy.
So peek under the hood. Peek under the hood. Call us up. You know what I mean? Get a hold of me.
How can people,
my team over there.
Yeah. How can people get a hold of you, Vince? What's the best place for people to reach you?
Just hit me. It's pretty simple. vparlove@uwm.com. vparlove@uwm.com. Get you to me. I'll get, we got a lot of folks coming in here. I'm on the phone. I'm helping folks as well. We got a whole team of people over here. We'll get you handled. We'll answer your questions. This isn't a buy one jiu-jitsu knife and for shipping and handling, we'll send you another one at all, right? That is not us. This is a process. And I always tell people when they call in, your process is our process. If you're just peeking under the hood, let me give you some information that you can roll around in for a couple weeks, a month, or something of that nature. And then we'll follow up with you, because I'm going to tell you, it's going to tempt you. I mean, when you're sitting there, you can't close a loan for 60 days and you're blowing locks and you're losing referral partners, and you can come over here and close a loan in 12 days. And a lot of our competition is better than most of the retail folks as well. That's pretty powerful, right?
It is.
Pretty powerful
It's very strong. So V Parlove is the best way to get hold. vparlove@uwm.com. All right. Man, thank you so much for being here.
Appreciate the hell out of you, David. Always enjoy being on your podcast. And if I can ever do anything for you or anybody that you're working with, you let me know.
I love that. Folks, take him up on this. Look under the hood. Take a look. I tell people, if you don't do anything, just get in and take a tour of this facility, and the attitude, sense it. Take it back to whatever you're doing, and they're not going to complain. Matt's all about sharing it. Vince is a part of sharing it. Get a hold of them. Yep. Vince, thank you so much. I appreciate you, sir. You're the best. I appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy.